Perfect. Hey everyone, what's up? My name is Benjamin Horry. I'm the co-founder of Spotlite and not the normal host, but today host of Industry Insight. And I am joined by the...
Andy.
I thought you were going to be like, the great Andy Kim or something like that.
Sorry, I was not ready for that. I was like,
Okay, let's go again. Hey everyone, blah, 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 blah. Today I'm joined by...
This is Andrew, a.k.a. Andy. I'll make the highlight from the spotlight.
Yeah, keep going. Should I just like a beatbox?
Nah. We're just getting warm up, so we'll see what's gonna, happen.
So, actually, Andy and I met, I don't know what, 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
Approximately. Mm-hmm.
Like 2.5 years ago?
Yeah, I saw it's almost 3 years now. It's
yeah,
been quite a while.
It's been a while. I mean, that was one of like, yeah, so to give a little bit of background, I knew Andy before starting Spotlight, and that was because you were working on the same job I was. It was like a Fila campaign or something, right?
It was. Remember it was for Fila summer, but it was really cold.
Oh my gosh, it was freezing, dude.
It was like in the middle of the winter, and Benjamin was shooting
in the ocean.
In the ocean.
I was the only one that I think was willing to go into the ocean.
Which I was like really grateful about it because honestly, I remember there was this one female model and she cried in the middle.
Yeah.
I felt bad at the same time. I had to shoot something really nice. So, and Benjamin was there. He was like willing to do it. I'm sure he cussed at me. Like, I just didn't hear it. But
no, internally I was like, okay, they're just gonna pay me more. It's fine, no problem.
Right.
But yeah, Andy, can you give us like a little bit of background of like your what you do within like the entertainment and kind of fashion space?
So, to begin with, I'm a formal photographer and formal editor.
Mm-hmm.
But now currently I'm mainly focusing on filmmaking. So I call myself film director now. Right now, I'm within this group called Zip Up, Creation and Zip Up, which is a directors collective. So we are working on mostly commercials, like TV commercials, and some fashion editorials and some music videos.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So are you guys kind of managing like the A to Z creative process while also like shooting it and then doing the post? So basically it's like clients come to you, they're like, hey, like I want to do something like this. You help them maybe design the concept and then actually get it done.
Right. Well, obviously it depends on the project, but for the most projects we have enough people like directors or enough I say creatives inside a group, so we are able to actually get the job done inside the house. But I guess if we don't have enough time, like a deadline per se, we do outsource, like DI or some like I don't know, like subtitle, those like small stuff that takes times. But mostly we can do everything in house.
Well, that's cool. And like you guys, I know like we kind of just talked about this off camera, but you guys just started like recently, right?
Yeah.
Like a couple months ago?
It's super new. I mean, I've been working with this team for years. Well, I say like 3 years. So basically, that's like when I met Benjamin.
Was that like the whole team? Because I know you were mentioning the guy kind of like pioneering this. Is like a close friend of yours that just came out of military service, right?
Right.
So like, were all the other members of this collective like people that you knew before, or like it's new members joining in? You're just kind of like starting to mesh now.
It's actually really interesting because so the CEO, so he's the guy pioneering this whole collective. He's the one that I know, but everyone else is someone that I never worked with before.
Oh, really?
And interestingly, like half of the people are actually people who the CEO, he met those people at military.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Like
And they just happened to be like within like the same space?
no,
Oh.
not at all. They were doing something like totally different, and somehow he just kind of like convinced them into get into this industry.
Ah, okay. So then my question is like, don't you need like a substantial amount of experience and like knowing how to use the equipment or things like this? Like, how can you just kind of jump in like with fresh feet?
So obviously, these guys, so they just came out of the military, so
Mm.
they're pretty young.
Yeah.
So we are actually helping them, and we're actually um, we're we are how to say it. We're training them. I would say that
Mm.
we train them per projects because
Okay.
each projects are different, right?
Yeah.
But like other directors, they're actually very experienced. So
Mm.
when I say these people from military, they are not really in the creative, but they're more into like a desk job or something like I would say like intern. So
Mm. Okay. Okay. Okay.
so
I'm
like
following.
a lot of like file
Yep.
managements or like going back and forth with clients.
Mm.
But we are still like trying to train them so that they can actually substantially be involved
Oh, that's
in the
cool.
project. Yeah.
Okay, so before like we keep diving like deeper and deeper into this, because I have some more questions. I want to go to the start because I think that's always like the best point to kind of see like people's journey throughout entertainment. So how did like you first get involved in like the film and photography space within like fashion or music, or it could be various different things, but like how did you get in? Like, were you studying and then kind
Mm.
of transition from there? Were you like,
You know, whenever people ask me this question, like I don't know where to start exactly because
mm,
um, to be exact, I always had a passion in photography or like a visual
okay,
image ever since I was like in middle school.
yeah,
But at the time, I had no idea that I was actually going to make that into my career. So
mm,
I just like I would buy a film camera and shoot photos,
yeah.
and I got so into it to the point that one of my teacher, so one of my art teacher in my high school, she she decided to actually create a photography class
Oh, that's cool.
with me.
Oh, really? Like
Yeah.
it didn't exist before?
No.
Oh, whoa, that's sick.
So I was like one of the first person who actually started like photography. Like it's almost like a movement because ever since
Mm,
the class was created, a lot of people that like jumped into it because
mm,
it's pretty fun.
yeah.
You're taking photos and there's a dark room. Like you can just go in there. You can kind of like fuck around. I mean, it's pretty fun. Like it's
Yeah.
very open. Like it's not like a math test
Yeah, yeah,
where
yeah.
you gotta like study hard, but
Yep.
it's more of an experiment,
Mm-hmm.
and which kind of also led me um, more into actually
Like creative
yeah,
arts or
creative
these kind of things.
area,
Mm-hmm.
and which which actually made me decide to go into art school, like art college.
Mm.
I went to Parsons.
Okay. And
So
like when you were there, like what was your major? Like were you studying film and photography or was it
no,
something else?
which is really funny because like I say that um, this is why I said that I had no idea that I was actually going to dive into like this visual career
Mm.
because when I first got into Parsons, I actually applied as an architecture.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then when I was in well, like most art school in their freshman year, you don't really have a major.
Mm.
You kind of I forget what it's called, but
Undergrad?
yeah, there's a term for it, but I forgot. But anyway, but basically you get to decide a lot of like different subjects,
Mm.
and then you get to decide your actual major when you get into second year.
Mm-hmm.
And on the second year, I actually got into industrial design.
Mm.
So it was more like a product design, I guess. I was like making tables. I was like making these chairs. I literally like made these kind of table
Oh, that's cool.
like in the shop.
Mm.
And then um, I had like a very up and down in my school year. Like it's kind of a long story, but I actually kind of took a year off from Parsons, and
Mm.
then I went to FIT for fashion,
Mm-hmm.
and then I studied menswear for like a year as
Whoa.
well. And then I realized how hard it was. I was like, God damn, like fashion, it looks really cool. Like like everyone's so like fashionable. They're so fancy. Like I want to be fancy too, but like actual creating process is like, oh my
Hard.
god, it's really hard.
Yeah.
So it gave me so much respect. I was
Mm.
like, these people who are actually into fashion industry, they are working their ass off, and they're like crazy about it. Unless
Yeah.
you really can't do anything about it. So I'm like, okay, I will buy clothes.
Yeah.
I will, yeah. That's why I actually went back to Parsons, and then I actually still didn't know what I literally wanted to do as a career. So I went into this major called integrated design,
Okay.
which is collaborative-based design. So each integrated design student had to pick 3 subjects. So I picked marketing, branding, and fashion. And then, yeah, I experimented with like a lot of different stuff. I actually met a collective involving around 15 people, and there were like photographers. There were actually a rapper too.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and well, they were like filmmakers just like me, and they were like a person who does branding, marketing, and then I was the whole project was kind of based off actually making making like a finished album for this rapper guy,
Oh, that's cool.
and that was like my final to graduate. So I made this like whole like what do you call it, blue points, and like the slides explaining how I did this. And then I was really fortunate enough that we actually threw a party, and a lot of people came.
Oh, cool.
And then we were actually able to bring
Like a release, like listening party kind of thing.
yeah, it was like a release album
Okay, yeah.
album release party, and then we invited a lot of people, and it actually got viral.
Oh, cool.
And then it it was pretty viral at the time, to the point that like it was on the news
Oh, whoa.
in Korean news too.
Whoa.
And so the rapper, his name is Yoon B.
Okay.
He's actually a rapper right now.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not familiar.
Yeah, it's
but-
okay. Yeah, but he's and then he was actually able to find a record label.
Oh, like a deal or something.
Yeah.
Wow, cool.
And
Off of that, like
Off
party?
of that,
Whoa.
off of that. I mean,
Whoa. Cool.
he's also very talented. Like I'm not gonna say that I made that.
No. I just mean like that was like a catalyst to help
Right.
get that going. That's cool.
Yeah. Which was such an experience for me and like as a team, because like that actually made me believe that you could do anything. It's not easy, but like if you have like a passion for it, if if you are able to bring people who's like willing to help you, or who's willing to just like enjoy the process with you,
Yeah.
you can make sure happen.
Yeah, for sure.
I was surprised that happened.
Yeah.
The only thing is that I wish there was a time when Instagram was
Social media was
yeah.
popping, right? Yeah.
there was like that's like already like more than 10 years ago. So
Yeah.
like Instagram, like all this like viral contents was not what it used to be back then. So
Yeah.
it didn't get like viral.
You guys didn't use Vine?
There was like a Vine
Oh,
era,
okay.
I guess, but Vine is not for those music
Yeah.
contents. But yeah, anyway, but it was pretty nice. And then
So then, like, what was the point at which you were like, okay, like, I really want to start like pursuing like film and photography is like a full-time thing,
full-time thing. Okay.
or like this is where like I want to drive my energy to go into. Like, I really enjoy like working on this specific project, or like I enjoy the creative process. Like, this is what I want to do now. Was there like a trigger point, or you just kind of like
It was
blended into?
yeah, it was all blended in, because like the reason I said in the beginning how like I didn't know where to start is because like all this process led me to where I am, and I always did had some sort of I guess I wanted to do something with the visual. I just wanted to create something, but
Yeah.
photography was the camera was what I had at the time, so I started shooting a lot of models. And I
Like
got
TFP stuff, like
Yeah.
like trading for time and stuff for the photos.
Basically, and then well, I was lucky enough to actually be involved in a pretty famous party at the time. It's called Bad
Okay.
Reputation, and there was like even from now, I can still say that was the best party in K Town, New York ever.
Mm.
Like, even till now.
But what were you doing with that? Were like you filming like the promos and like the after party
So
videos and like this kind
basically,
of stuff?
I was shooting a photography,
Okay.
event photography, but that party was known for a lot of like top Korean models and like
Mm.
celebrities to be in.
Cool.
So I was like, I just literally went in. I was like, I would go into like top models. I would just face them like one on one. I would be like, hey, I'm a photographer. Can I shoot you? Like,
Oh, that's cool.
that's how it started.
Mm.
So I started shooting these models, and then they actually really liked it. And I shot a lot of com cars for them,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and that's how I actually got connected with the agency.
Mm.
So the agency started reaching out to me. But at the time, nobody was paying me well because
Mm.
I'm just like a starting photographer.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I really wanted to like make substantial money out of it. So I started looking at all the magazines like Vogue,
Mhm.
Elle magazine, and then I just looked at the name of the editors. So I wrote like 50 emails to editors.
Oh.
So if there's like so let's say if you look at the magazine, right, and
Mm-hmm.
you see a Benjamin, I would be like Benjamin@vogue.com.
Yeah.
that's how I wrote it to everyone.
Yeah.
And there was one person who actually like looked me into it,
Oh, that's cool.
and she was the only Korean person at the Vogue at the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, like, did you get a project with them, or what
Yeah.
happened?
I actually this is really like I know like these stories are very spontaneous,
Hmm.
but this is literally how I actually like
No,
did
no, no.
shit.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm very curious because I think, like,
Yeah.
I mean, the main point of this is to like kind of open up people's like beginning to where they are.
Right.
So, like people that might be interested or coming in, like it could be they want to be a model, they want to be a photographer, they want to be a filmmaker, like who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Like they can get like real experiences from people as like, hey, this is how I got in. This is like the things I did to get to where I'm at now.
Right.
So like I think it's really, really interesting. Like I love that like hustle mindset because like just kind of off topic, but somebody that's been talking to me recently about like getting into the industry, I was like, dude, you just gotta hammer, like message every photographer you can.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Try to get shootings, message everybody you can. Like if you didn't message everyone, then like you're leaving opportunity on the table.
Right. You can't you gotta put down your ego.
Yeah, for sure.
Like especially not even till now, like no matter how big you are,
Mm.
no matter how small you are, you gotta let down your ego. So yeah, like I really want to get into how I got into film, but
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
interested in because that's like your primary focus
Yeah.
now, right?
all right, yada yada. There's like a whole this like.
No, it's okay. Like
Do
let's
you-
go through it.
Do you want me to actually go through everything?
Yeah. I want to know. Like I want to know
Okay.
like how you went from because to me now I'm just wondering like okay like why didn't you pursue photography? Because it sounds like you were starting to like grow, like connect with the right people, like build that network, and like you could have just kept going down that road.
Mhm.
Like why transition into film? So like I'd love to hear it.
Okay. I guess this is actually a pretty good advice because like I literally I had such a hustle mind at the time,
Mm.
and when I said hustling though, it was not really about making money, although I kind of like wish I had that mind as well, but it was more of a process of getting to know myself, what I like and what I can do. So basically, after when I got connection with the Vogue person, right? She went into Vogue headquarters
Oh, that's
and
cool.
met the person. You know what? I actually met Anna Winter too.
Oh, really?
But I mean, we didn't say anything, but I just met her. Like,
She didn't like grill your outfit or something?
Nah. We actually met in the elevator.
Oh, really?
Yeah, randomly. And then the person who invited me, she introduced me, and I was like, oh, hi, how are you? And then yeah, she just went off. But I was like, damn.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's pretty cool. But when I first went in there, I actually wanted some kind of job, but then I didn't want to be like straightforward about it. So I actually went in as a more like a person who needs an advice. So I actually asked the editor. Um, by the way, her name is Monica. Shout out to Monica. She helped me a lot at the time. She's not in Vogue anymore, but anyway, she told me a lot of good stuff about like what goes on, like and like what Vogue needed at the time. But we didn't really actually get into what I could do for Vogue.
Okay.
And then, but we sat down for like around 30 minutes, and then I went back home, and then I was like, damn, I wish I had some opportunity with them, but then
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do about it. But there was this one moment, um, uh, just randomly, I had an opportunity to actually go to Paris with my ex-girlfriend. That was my first Euro trip ever. And then I had an idea. I was like, oh shit, like this is Paris. Paris is known for fashion, you know?
Yeah.
There are a lot of models.
Yeah.
And it's also, I was assuming it was going to be a really good spot to shoot as well. So I was actually asked Monica, the editor, again. I was like, hey, I'm going to Paris. Do you need anything? Like, if you need to shoot anything, I will shoot for you. You don't have to pay me.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And then she was like, oh, actually, she really wanted to shoot this model. She's like a Korean model based in Paris.
Okay.
Her name is Moon. Her name was Moon something. I forgot. But
Okay.
anyway, it was a long time ago. But she was like, "Oh, if you are able to get like contact her and shoot something and write a story about it, you should." And I was like, oh, "Okay, do you have her contact?" And she was like, "No." I was like, oh, okay. So I actually went to her Instagram. I was like, all right. I wrote her DM. I was like, "Hey, I'm a photographer. I'm shooting for Vogue."
Yeah.
And Vogue in New York. Like, so Vogue in New York is like a main, you know.
Yep.
So I pretended I was like a Vogue photographer. She was very open about it. And
Yeah, of course.
That's how I connected.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I went to Paris with my ex-girlfriend, and I was there for like around 2 weeks, a little shorter, but I actually got really close with the model, and the model was really nice too. She was actually in the same age as me, so we got close really fast.
Yeah.
So she was actually able to bring stylists for like different
Oh,
outfits.
whoa, that's cool.
So I remember I shot at least like 4 to 5 looks, and it came out really nice.
Oh, nice. Like, did you have the concept already? Like how? What was that process like?
It was very spontaneous.
Oh, really?
Not gonna
Okay.
lie, because
Okay.
I didn't know what the stylist was going to bring. Moreover, I didn't know anything about Paris. But I guess one good thing was that since I was touring there already,
Yeah.
I walked around a lot.
So you had some like
Yeah,
location
I
scouting
had
done.
some.
Nice.
So I had some ideas where to shoot. Plus, we actually went into models her own apartments, and I thought it was very authentic. It was, I don't know how to describe it, but she had a pretty nice like vibe going on in
Yeah.
her space. So I actually shot a few there too, which came out really nice.
Cool.
So it was very spontaneous, but it was like, you know, one of those like shooting where walk around, nice weather, nice spot, shoot,
Yeah.
coffee, some beer, and it just went. It was cloud nine.
Yeah.
I'll just put it. It was really nice, but
That's cool.
that's how I actually had my first Vogue logo on my photo.
So the story actually got published with Vogue.
Well,
Whoa,
not
that's-
on the magazine, but
Okay.
but online.
Still, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I was like, wow, that was fun.
Yeah. So then why go into film? Like,
So having a Vogue on your portfolio really helped me a lot. As in,
Yeah.
like, it got me.
like a stamp of approval, like
Yeah, yeah.
authenticated, you know,
Mhm.
like verified.
Like people will look at it and be like, "Oh, yeah, he's legit, right?"
Yeah.
But it wasn't as easy making out as a photographer at the time.
How come?
I think I just
Was it like timing, market condition, like?
I think it's more like I just didn't know.
Oh, okay.
It's like I didn't know where to start. I didn't know how to like get into it, and plus, um, I was kind of getting, uh, I was kind of getting sick of following the same pattern,
Mm.
and I really wanted to do something different. But when you shoot in New York, and we don't have enough substantial like space, there's a limit to where you can shoot.
Mm.
At least at my point of view. So at some point, uh, I guess I was like trying to do something different, and like I'm a big fan of music. I really wanted to get music involved in my project as well, but photographers was very hard to do that,
Mm.
and that's like the time when um, so let me go back a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Remember UMB, right?
Yeah.
The rapper.
Yeah.
He actually got the deal, and he went to Korea,
Okay.
and then he came back to shoot a music video,
Oh, cool.
and then he basically reached out to me to shoot a music video.
Mm.
So that was my first music video,
Whoa.
and then I think that's how I got into actually shooting music video.
Ah. So it was just like kind of like a spontaneous like
Yeah.
connection that was like, hey, like I want you to shoot this, and then you
Mhm.
were like, whoa, like I really enjoy filmmaking.
Basically,
Mm.
yeah. When I shot a music video for him, it was a really hard process, but I actually loved actually making moving visuals
Mm.
and involving music into it versus just shooting
Still
stills.
images?
Yeah, that's what I
Mhm.
realized. I have so much respect for photographers and everything, but that's
Mhm.
just what I felt,
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I realized that I could shoot something with a video.
Mm.
And when I actually shot the music video, I shot it with this one of my partner named Sherman. He's also a director.
Mm-hmm.
He was a director. He's not really director right now, but he's the first director I shot a music video with.
Mm.
And ever since I shot film with him for 8 years.
Whoa.
So
Does he live in Korea also? Like,
yeah, he's in Korea right
okay.
now, but he actually quit the film last year. But he's thinking about getting into it again.
Mm.
But that's how I started, like actually being partnered with this guy named Sherman,
Mhm.
and then we were like,
Was he kind of like at the time? Did like he have more experience behind the camera that he could kind of like guide
Oh, yeah.
you and mentor you?
he
or?
actually did.
Okay.
He was really passionate about it.
Mm.
Funny story, I actually met him while we were both bartending.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and remember I said I shot event photography, right?
Yeah.
He used to shoot video there.
Oh, really? At
Yeah,
the same
in
place?
the same place.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know. Everything's like so like
Interconnected.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a fucking Inception.
Yeah, that's cool.
But like we knew each other, and then when Yumbi came, I asked help for him because he knew more about
Mm.
shooting,
Yeah.
and then we were really good friends, and he agreed that he wanted to do it, so we shot the first music video, and ever since I guess we clicked,
Mm.
and then at the time he had more connection in Korean magazine.
Mm.
She was shooting a lot of editorials for Korean magazine at the time.
Okay.
And you know Eyes magazine, right? Have you heard of Eyes magazine? You should know about Eyes magazine. If you
I totally know about it.
but anyway, Eyes magazine is like actually one of the most viral magazine right now.
Mm.
But Sherman was actually the first guy who shot editorials in U.S.
For the magazine.
for the magazine.
Okay.
And then he was literally shooting like 10 editorials within 2 weeks and stuff.
Whoa.
So that's a lot of work, right?
Yeah.
So he actually wanted me to get involved so I can help him out.
Yeah.
And that's how it started.
Cool.
And ever since, it kind of just got rolling.
So during that time, were you also like helping him like shoot as a photographer, or were you helping like shoot like BTS film or like real film for like online digital contents or?
Um, I was more of a AD, I
Okay.
guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
he was usually the one who actually held the camera the most,
Mm.
and then um, I helped him a lot with like the project planning,
Mm.
like scenarios and stuff,
Creating the concepts.
creating the
and stuff.
contents
Okay.
and like editing.
Yep.
And I actually shot with him as well. So usually we will have two cameras,
Mm-hmm.
so we will have different angles, right?
Yeah.
But we didn't really have like a set position where like you had to do this and
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
But we were pretty like flexible about it. But he was basically the one who actually got me more into this industry because like he opened it up for me.
Yeah.
He gave me the connection. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. And do you think like for people that are like maybe interested in coming into like the creative arts or like something within entertainment or fashion or whatever, like one of the better things they can do to kind of jumpstart that like process is finding somebody that you know is willing to kind of like mentor them and bring them along?
I say you really have to be. It's either I think it's either you really gotta be able to be out there, be able to go to like events, like even some parties, like if you're like if you're not extrovert enough.
Extrovert,
Sorry,
yeah.
if you're extrovert enough, I think honestly, in my case, that was how it happened, right? But if you can't do that, you gotta be able to literally just like DM people. Like you gotta be able to be like, hey, I'm trying to do this, and I need some advice, or is there anything that I can help you?
Yeah.
You just gotta be open.
Yeah.
There's been actually a few people who actually did that to me while I was in Korea.
Like contacting you for like advice or
Yeah,
like help.
yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And even among those people, there were also people who were actually more straight up and be like, if they could be at the set. So I just brought them in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like they just kind of wanted to like bystand and like
Yeah.
just see the process. Oh, that's cool.
Because like this industry is all about like how it's all about experience. There's like a limited amount of information you can get from like YouTube.
Yeah, for sure.
Like like even class. Not that
I mean, that's the point of this podcast. Like, I'm sure, like, I mean, even finding like this story of like how you went from like starting the photography program in high school, which is opening up now this opportunity for other people, to like how you got to where you are now. I think like where else can you find like this kind of insight? Like, I don't think it exists. I mean, entertainment is usually pretty closed doors. But yeah, it's really, really cool to hear. So like now my question is, so you started to get more involved in like, I guess from the hip hop or rappers MV, like you started to feel that like you wanted to blend like visuals with maybe like other forms of media like music or something like that. Like, did you have another project after that that was like a real trigger that it's like, okay, like this is what I'm gonna do. Like I'm fully stepping away from photography as like my primary, and like I just loved working on this recent project, and like this is where I'm gonna go now.
Photography.
No, for filmmaking.
For filmmaking. Oh,
like after the rap video, what was like the next defining like project you got to work on where you're shooting as like a filmmaker or videographer? I'm not sure what the term is.
I actually didn't really have like a project that triggered me to actually be more involved in it. I think it's just like it's just how I was able to just do it. That's it. Because like it's not easy to get jobs. It's not easy to get involved with those kind of like work unless you're lucky or unless you have a connection. But like I was lucky enough to have some jobs that which made me actually made me train for it in a sense, because you have to train for it.
Yeah.
You gotta know you gotta know about the environment, but more and more you do it, you learn something new, and which every project you feel yourself evolve, and you think you can do better, but there's always something that you think you can do like better, like each project, right?
It's a never-ending process.
Yeah, there's
right?
a never-ending process, but I think that's what actually got me into it. More and more I do it, there's always something new. Like, filmmaking, it could be something that you can just shoot with a camera, and you could have like a fucking, I don't know, airplane shooting camera. So there's such a huge gap in between
Of like what's possible.
of what's possible that you just want more. And if you are actually able to get more out of it, there's such satisfaction from it. But which is hard. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy. But yeah.
Okay, so my next, I want to know, because I know this personally about you, and I don't know if you want to talk about it. Like, I can cut it later or whatever, but I know you used to work with 88 Rising, right? So, like, how did you get in there? Because obviously they're super, super well known now, right? Like, were you there in the early stages, and you were working there primarily as
Editor.
editor? Okay.
Yeah.
And like, how did you find your way within like 88 Rising at the time?
Well, I was lucky. I'm not gonna lie. I was actually I was like one of the first. Well, so I was like one of those editor at the very beginning stage of 88 Rising, like literally at the first half year.
Wow.
That's like when 88 Rising used to have like small ass office.
But how did you find them? Like, how did you hear about them? Like, was like it a connection that
It
was
was a
like, hey,
connection.
like come work with this team?
One of my best friend Tay, shout out to Tay, by the way.
Shout out Monica, shout out Sherman, shout out Tay.
Yes. So he's the one who actually got into 88 Rising first, and then he knew that I was doing video, right?
Yeah.
So he was like, "Hey Andy, are you able to edit?" So I'm like, "Yeah." Like I wasn't that good at it, but I was like, "Yes." I just said it so that I can actually work on it, right?
Yeah.
And then that's how I actually got involved with 88 Rising. But I wasn't there for too long though. I was only there for like, maybe a little less than a year, and then
Okay.
actually came out again because I didn't like what I was doing there at the time. Because I was doing a lot of like subtitle work.
Okay.
Like, a lot of like subtitles, and I had to like translate like Korean to English, and this is before ChatGPT, by the way. So I don't know, like I was not, I didn't like what I was doing, so I came out from 88 Rising, and then I jumped into filmmaking again with just like small clients while I was bartending because I had to like make a living out of it, right? But later, so this is after like 2 years, 2 to 3 years. I went back into 88 Rising.
Oh, so like you left and then you went back.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you went back, were you what kind of stuff were you doing? Like, were you in a different role now, or?
Oh yeah. Well, I was still an editor, but I was a senior editor,
Okay.
which gave me more opportunity doing various projects, editing various projects with coworkers. I was able to lead a team.
Oh, cool.
Which was a really nice experience.
Yeah. Were you able to like do any of like your own concepts or like create some concepts? Or was it already kind of like pre-planned and it was kind of like, this is what we're going to shoot?
Yeah, most of them are pre-planned because we have directors and producers. So what happens is that when they shoot the contents, right, the director, sometimes the director, if it's like a big project, sometimes the director comes sit with me and explain how I should edit. or sometimes they go through with me. Um, I I guess I had freedom in terms of how to edit them,
Mm-hmm.
but concept wise, I didn't really have that much like input. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And like now, like you're like this with this new collective, like you're working with now, like you have much more creative freedom to kind of like drive the concept in the way that like you want, or like through
Oh
like
yeah.
your own vision. Mm.
Basically, yeah.
Did
It's
you have any like before, let's say like post 88 and before the new project that you're working in, or the new team that you're working with now? Like, did you ever have like a really cool like concept or job or brand or person that you got to work with where you kind of got to like design everything from A to Z yourself?
mm, I guess my recent work for the Hype Golf and
Oh
Post
yeah.
a Carve faction. You were there, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You remember seeing the video, right?
Shout out Hype Golf. I love your stuff.
Shout out to Hype Golf. Shout out to Moon.
Yeah.
Moonson, he's the director for Hype Golf.
So you got to do like what happened? Like you knew him before,
Yeah, he went to Parsons.
and he was like, "Hey, like I'm gonna start like this Hype Golf label. Like I want you to do like all the creative visuals for it."
Well, yeah. Well, basically, so he doesn't have.
Can you bring it just a little bit closer?
Okay.
Just bring it to you.
All right, that's easier.
Yeah. Just bring it as close as you can.
So basically, he didn't really had that much experience, like
Mm.
production wise.
Mm-hmm.
So he needed some advice on how to shoot like projects,
Mm.
and I was helping him with. Well, I was giving him advice, and then he was like, "Hey, why don't you just shoot for it?" I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, sure."
Cool.
And I think what's interesting about this project was that this is for Hype Beast,
Mm.
which is not really a fashion brand.
Well,
It's more of a platform,
yeah.
and collaborate with Post Archive faction.
Mm.
And Post Archive is also they're pretty like I think they have their strong concept, but they're pretty open about how to visualize them. Like you don't really have to show the clothes, like you don't really have to emphasize like certain things.
Mm.
So I had a lot of freedom.
Mm.
Not much budget, but
Yeah.
it was a small budget. So, but since I had a lot of freedom, like I was able to put some like effects or some like direction that I actually really wanted to do like before.
Mm.
That was pretty fun.
Mm. And what was that like creative design process for you? Like, how did you? I mean, like obviously, I think like this is just like my interpretation of how it would go is like you would take like some references from obviously like the theme or style of the clothing. So like obviously golf clothes you're not going to shoot on a basketball court or something
Right.
like this, but like what is that like process for you, like starting from like okay, like we want you to shoot this project, like this is the brand, this is the identity, these are the clothes, like now translate that into a visual like media form that people can like connect with.
Mm. Well, first of all, the director Moon, he kind of had a vision for it.
Oh, okay.
Like he had excuse me, he had when he first had first meeting, he actually bought PPT slides with
Oh wow, okay.
some visuals that he thought they would be interesting.
Mm.
And among those visuals, there was there was a photography shot of swing shot, which with the
Or it's like
yeah, I don't know how to
yeah,
explain
it's
that.
like
Yeah.
like it's like
We call that
still images within a moving picture, right?
yeah.
Where it's like stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We call that echoes in
Okay.
film.
Yeah.
So like so when I saw that, I was like, oh, I actually had a reference for that video.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Oh,
there was some reference I always wanted to do, and I was like, hey, check this video out. Isn't this really cool? You want to try this? He was like, can you do this? I was like, I'm not sure. I never done it before, but I will try.
Yeah.
I will fucking make this happen.
Yeah.
He was very skeptical about it, but I was like, trust me.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then he was like, okay. I'm really thankful that he was like able to just like trust me. He was like, hey, all right, just do your stuff.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, which actually gave me more responsibility, right? But it was fun because I was actually able to do it.
Yeah.
It was not exactly what I wanted, but it was pretty close enough that it came out really nice.
And like, how's like, I know like, I guess like from a creative standpoint, it's a little different. How do you like kind of find that happy point where it's like, you know, like it's really hard to get this outside, right? Like to get like, even like I had another person on a different podcast that was talking about the process of like getting like taking design out of their head and putting it to paper and then translating it into clothes. Like I guess like you kind of talked about that, you know, like you're always striving for like the perfect shot or like the perfect video or like exactly how you see. Like how's it like now blending that where it's like, okay, well, it's not exactly what I want, but like I'm okay with it, like, and then moving on to the next one.
That's actually that's actually a really hard question because I guess you kind of like you really kind of have to like realize what you have, like, because like
it could be as simple as like budget allocation, right? Like, okay, we didn't have enough time, we couldn't get like exactly the equipment I wanted. Like, is it these kind of things, or like if you had like unlimited budget, do you think you would just keep pushing until like it's exactly what you see in your mind?
Oh yeah, probably, or even better. I feel like if I have like unlimited budget or unlimited time, well, or at least like enough time for I definitely think I will be able to create something what I visioned, or even better, because I think a lot of this creative process is also experimenting, and a lot of this experimenting comes from failing, right?
Yeah, of course.
But to be able to fail, you gotta have enough flexibility.
Yeah.
And like budget or time, but like I said, you know, like hype golf, like I didn't know how to make that effect happen, but I was risking that, right? And I didn't have enough time for it, but I was able to bet on it because I don't know, I just kind of like went with the gut, but I'm grateful that I made it happen. But usually you can't do that with other projects.
Yeah.
Because like, if you fuck up a project, that could hurt your career a lot. So
like, how do you deal with like that kind of pressure? You know, like if it's like, I don't know, like a really big brand or artist or somebody that's like putting like a lot of responsibility on you to shoot this like concept that's, you know, just as equally like impactful for their career. Like, how do you deal with like that pressure of like, you knowing like, I just have to do this. Like, there's no room for error.
You know, honestly, sometimes I don't. There's been projects that I just kind of like didn't accept it, like, cause like, I simply wasn't able to tell if I was able to do it. Plus the time. Usually it's the time as well. But you know, I guess like, but there's so recently I AD'd for this like K-pop idol music video, and that was my first time doing K-pop idol, and it was even first time for the director as well, and it was one of the biggest budgets I ever dealt with, and there were a lot of artwork going in.
Artwork is in,
as in like creating stage.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, you know, all those props,
set design, all that stuff.
Design.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
And
sorry, I'm just not familiar with all of these terms, like within that side. So I'm just like,
Yeah,
Also
yeah,
learning.
that's cool. And we both never done these artwork, right?
Mm.
So I guess we were just we kept on looking for people who knew how to do it,
Mm.
and we were able to find this producer production company with an art director there,
Mm.
and then that's actually one of the time I realized how important it is to meet with people who's very talented.
Mm.
Because like we found this guy, and whenever we said that we wanted this to make it happen, he made it happen.
Well, that's cool.
Of course, there was a restriction because of the budget or yada yada, but he was actually able to make it at least like 70 to 80%,
Wow.
like close to stuff that we vision for.
Mm.
So that's when we actually thought I was like we were like, oh shit, like we didn't have that much time for it, but we're so glad like we met this guy.
And how are you communicating how are you communicating like a specific like set design or artwork or something to that person that they can then like put into real life?
It's all images.
So it's just like references and
References.
references and references.
Yeah,
Okay.
you gotta have references.
Mm.
You can't, yeah, you can't explain it just by words at all.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
gotta
yeah.
have references, or you gotta be able to draw it or something.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be able to making something into visual,
Mm.
so everyone can be in the same, you know, same understanding
Yeah,
of
it's
what's
just
going on.
easy to see and then implement, right?
Yeah.
Hmm. I got a question for you. So I think it's like a hot topic just within entertainment as a whole, but I think like we're in this like dawn of AI, right? Where even it's starting to encroach on like modeling, where like we're starting to see like brands do campaigns or viral campaigns or digital campaigns with like digitally created people. Do you ever see, or are you starting to see that sort of bleed into filmmaking and production now?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Even
Mm.
our creative, um, our collective as well. We are doing that right now.
Mm.
Even though we haven't been able to actually put it into project yet,
Yeah.
but we're actually starting to do that.
And do you think like that'll kind of like reduce the strain of like budget because like you could basically create anything you want within like Sora or like one of these other like visual, I don't know what you call it, but you know what I mean?
Not yet.
Mm.
I think the technology is not advanced enough to actually uh, to make something happen with just just the wordings.
Mm.
Well, so all those like examples from Sora and everything.
Yeah.
Those are all made from hard work.
Mm.
It's not even though they say you can like it's AI, you can like
Just generate it with a couple prompts.
just generate
yeah.
it. No, you gotta have exact like vision and like you gotta know what to say. You gotta know what to type,
Mm.
or you gotta know how to implement that into different AI tools
Mm.
and make that happen. And plus, it's really hard to explain to the client what you're gonna make from AI
Mm.
because you don't know if you're
What it's gonna come out.
what's gonna
like,
come out.
exactly.
Yeah.
Mm.
But in the future, yes, it will definitely make it easier for filmmakers to um, envision what that might actually like take a lot of budget with
Mhm.
small budget.
Yeah, like that's like because I know like even like um I know there was like a point in time where even we thought about like shooting our own visual project, and like unfortunately it didn't go through, like budget constraint and like just like human resources at the time. We just didn't have enough and like everything, and there's a lot of different things going on. But I was just wondering like do you like if it would be possible like in the near future to like reduce some of those like major costs by like using current technology like AI, like video creation?
somewhat, but at the same time, I feel like there will be another part of um, field which it might. I think it will make people to. Um, I think it will make people to be able to make something that that's like used to. Wait, let me start this over. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool.
I don't know. Honestly, I still see AI as a tool that needs a lot of research. It's definitely not easy as people think to utilize them, but like in the future, I think people learn more about it. So you will start to find people who's expert about it.
But you never like you don't have any concern because you don't have any concern that or this may be a threat to like taking over like a majority of the jobs that are out there for filmmakers or photographers. Because I know like some models are like, yeah, like I hate AI, like I don't like it's gonna take my job, because like it's a way more cost effective solution and this and that and this and that. Like you don't ever think like it's gonna start like bleeding over to become like the majority of what people are using now.
Not yet. Not in any time like anytime soon. I think I would view those technology as just like outsourcing. I wouldn't say that technology will actually take over the film industry as a whole, but it will just become another like group of department. Like there's a lighting director, there's an art director, and there will be AI director. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Because like I think there's still a lot of shooting that can only be done by a human resource, in my opinion.
Like in what capacity? Like what do you mean? Like why could this technology not replace like human interaction at some level?
Because it's just different. I don't know how to put it. It's just what you can make from AI is something that so you won't be able to mimic AI as a human resource, right? But it goes the other way too. Like AI wouldn't.
You don't think so?
No,
really?
not yet.
Well, not obviously not right now,
Yeah.
but like, I mean, that's the same thing with like photos, right? Like, like sometimes there's like 5 extra fingers or like the fingers are blended or something like that. It's like but like if you look at how rapidly like it's been advancing, like from a year ago, it's like night and day, right?
Let me put it this way. I don't know if this is good example or comparison. When you watch anime, like you still see. So if you look at like old animes versus new animes these days, you see the differences, right? Like new animes, they're more 3D based, whereas before it's more of like a hand drawing type of work.
Okay.
So there's very different, the huge difference with the texture and the atmosphere. And even with, I think there's a texture and atmosphere for AI. And there's an and when you actually shoot the film, you can bring us something more, and AI will be able to be a part of it. But I don't think AI could take like everything. Like you can definitely.
It'll just be a tool.
Yeah, it will just be a tool. I mean, you will be able to make a movie out of AI, yes. But let's say that if you want to create some sort of mood and some sort of vibe, exactly, then you'll have to shoot. That will be faster. That will be much more delicate. And you could put some AI parts in there, maybe. I think it's about details. I think AI could definitely put more details into like existing scene.
Okay, I got
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
but it's so much easier to have actual footage.
So it'll basically just be like a post production tool.
Yeah,
Mm. Okay, like we got a little off of like
yeah.
where we were going with this AI thing, but so like I want to know what like that process is like from like actually working the job, right? Like so like when you're working, do you primarily prefer to be like on the side where you can see what the camera's shooting, or do you prefer to be like on the camera itself and then like move with the scene?
Usually, uh, usually you have to be behind behind the monitor.
Mm.
Uh,
Right, like that little.
yeah, so you can see as a whole.
So then, like, how's that communication process with like I don't know who would that be a DOP, right? The person behind
Yeah.
the camera.
Mm-hmm.
So like, how do you communicate with them? Because obviously that chemistry has to be super super strong, right?
Right. Like you mean like verbally or
I just mean in general, right?
in
Like
general?
if you have, I mean, I really don't understand the entire like structure or hierarchy between behind like production. So like my understanding is like just from my experiences, the shot caller is usually the guy behind the monitor,
Mm-hmm.
and then obviously there's like 1,000 other people on set, but like the next key guy to him is usually the guy behind the camera. So like, how's that process like communicating? Because obviously you both have different eyes or vision or creative aspect or idea of how this should be shot.
You mean
But
during the shoot?
yeah,
Oh, we have microphones.
so it's like just as simple as being like, okay, like you need to move a little bit left, or you
Yeah.
need to shoot it from this angle.
I mean, of course, we share the shot list first. We will have to communicate before the shoot so that we're in the same page, like what kind of mood we want. Um, but but usually, when we're setting up the set, we talk about it first,
Mm.
and then when we get into shooting, it's entirely up to director most of the time.
Mm.
And then if there's like a free time, we give freedom to DOPs so they can shoot with
Their own idea
their own
or
ideas.
eye or
Yeah.
whatever, right?
But
So then, wouldn't it not just be easier for you to be behind the camera? Because like it needs to be shot like from this angle with like like this close.
no, you have to know about this. Like DOPs they're the technicians.
Mm.
They know how to deal with the cameras.
Mm.
So I mean, of course, sometimes the director goes next to the DOPs and like they
Guide them.
they will guide them.
Okay.
Um, but for most of the times, like unless if you have like a full knowledge of like how to like take care of cameras, like lenses, like settings and stuff, it will just take up more time. Like DOP knows, like good DOP knows what they're doing. It's like if you shoot with them, you see the difference.
Mm.
And then if you find the DOP who understands your vision,
Mm.
and I think that's like one of the most like
Key crucial parts.
key crucial parts, so that you don't really have to like stress about like explaining, right?
Mm.
So most of the time, like, once we go through the pre-production process where we talk about the ideas, we just give them directions like through microphones or like, and we have all kind of gear. So
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I've been there. Like I've seen it.
Yeah.
Like I've been on set and I've seen that. I'm just like, I never really understood like how that communication channel was like because like I've always been on this side, right? Like, and I can see there's like a million people on the other side. Like,
oh, I guess so. So this is what AD does as well. So AD they're usually the one who's on the set, like, uh, just like walking around between directors to communicate better. So we have the shot list, right? So let's say we're on scene 2 or act 5, and then AD and I will have a good connection of where we're at, and AD will be the person who's like usually next to the DOP, actually explaining. what the director wants.
And what's it like? So, okay, I got a like general understanding of it. So what's it like when you have to work with somebody that you never worked before, right? Like maybe you're taking the role as a director now, and like this is a DOP. Like I don't know who picked him or if you got the choice, but like maybe client was like, we have to use this guy, and like now you have to work with like new teammate that like has to understand your vision. Like how do you communicate that with them?
You know, it's a whole lot of risk, honestly. Like you really have to. I think first of all, you really have to just get involved in the pre-production process. Like before the shoot, you just really have to understand each other or try to at least. But usually, if you're professional enough, like you won't see like other like DOPs or directors or other like parts like screwing things over. Usually, they will go with it. But it's definitely a risk because like it is easier if you find a director who
like you have a chemistry with.
Chemistry with them. So far I haven't had like a big trouble. I think this is also where the connection comes in, because like usually I personally think that people that I worked with before, I understand them after I drank with them. I don't know, I'm a big drinker, so but usually if I drink with them first and then we like talk about like it could be anything, but this is when you know like, oh, like he knows or he's like similar or whatever, or he's like different or whatever. But usually, let's say if you just jump into the shoot, and if you are with like a like DOP or whatever, like who you never met before, you just go with it. Like there's no choice. Like you just have to kind of like believe that he will do it right. I'm not gonna lie. There's been a couple of times like DOP screw me over. When I say screw me over, like
just wasn't enough alignment, right?
Yeah. Or they actually like sometimes like they actually like really fucked up like
purposely?
Not purposely, but like they were not skilled enough.
Okay.
So that like sometimes like the color will go off. Or like a frame by rate, like all these kind of small details, right? So this is why DOP is a technician, bro. You gotta know all that stuff. Like when you're shooting something, you really gotta know what you're doing.
And like what's like the progress? Like does somebody start as a DOP, or like I know there's like a million like positions within like a production team, right? Like how does somebody get to a DOP, and then how do they get to a director? Because director is the top, right?
Well, there's the creative directors.
Okay.
There's producers.
I mean, like on set, like for like the actual shooting, like the director behind the monitor would kind of be like the top dog, right?
Yeah.
So like, how does somebody get from being a DOP, like getting into, I don't know, being like a crew hand to like getting into a DOP and then getting up to a director level? Like, is it just about like getting there, getting exposed, and then like slowly working your way up?
Yes, and you gotta really have opportunity. Like you gotta be. So usually most people start with DOPs, cause like you gotta like shoot so that you know what, like, I mean that's how like all students starts. Like you can't be a student and be a director and find a DOP and tell people to shoot stuff, right?
Yeah.
So most people knows how to deal with the camera, and that's how they start. And then and after that, I think it's really about what you want yourself. Like if you want to be DOP, and you will just like continue pursuing and studying cameras and like all these like process. And if you want to be a director, you'll focus on visualizing and visioning, and bringing people together.
So it sounds like there's kind of like two avenues you can go with in production, right?
They're all different avenues.
But I mean,
Yeah.
like, just in general, is like you either take like a more creative role where you are designing the concepts or like visualizing these concepts, or you take like a more technical role where you're like actually now taking those concepts and applying them to like what's actually in front of you.
In a way,
Okay.
yeah, in a sense. But like you know, like all like lighting, directing.
Yeah, yeah,
Like some
yeah.
people say, it's a very technique based job. At the same time, it's also a form of art form where I won't be able to make that happen.
Yeah.
Like I won't be able to make that glorious like backlight, but these people know how to do it like this. That's where you find a. That's when you know you find a good like directors or like lighting directors.
So like building the production team itself is like super 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 crucial versus like having a little bit of knowledge about each individual working part. It's like, okay, where can I like now build my A team, right?
It's definitely it will definitely help you if you have knowledge with different parts. But you can't do everything by yourself. You definitely need a team. You film is such a teamwork. This that's why I learn more and more like more I get into it. And sometimes I find a very I find a big respect for these people because they're real into it. Like real into like finding great lighting or how to make these happen. Like like DOPs like they're super like passionate about making a shot perfect, and those are all skill based.
Yeah.
It's not something you can do just by like learning. Like there is also kind of a sport in a way. You gotta like feel it. You gotta have like a muscle memory to do that.
And what's like the most like if you broke like a specific project down into 3 parts would be like, I mean any project, right? It's like pre production and then post, right?
Pre-shoot, post, yeah.
Yeah. So like which is the most difficult out of those 3? Is it the actual shooting itself because like you're under like really strict time constraints and you know like, or is it the post production now like, you know, maybe you didn't have the shot that you thought you did or you didn't come out the way you wanted, or is it the pre-planning so that both of those things can be mitigated as much as possible?
I say pre and post. Shooting is where everything's kind of like, excuse me, everything's kind of like pre is something like everything's kind of decided so that you can kind of go with it and let other specialists like make it happen. So I'll put it this way: if you put enough time on pre, and if you're able to be stressful, but be able to make the actual shoot happen within the pre-production time, post will be easier. But if you put little amount of pre-production and just shoot whatever, post will be hell. So you gotta shoot well first.
So then it really sounds like pre-production is the most important so that everything else runs smoothly after, right?
In a way, you gotta have a good start, definitely.
And like, have you ever had an experience where like, I don't know, maybe you guys went above and beyond to do like as much pre-production as you could and like checked every possible like parameter of this can't go wrong, that's not going to go wrong. And then, you know, like life, like it's unpredictable and then something goes wrong. Like, how do you deal with that?
You know, like no matter how much time you put into pre-production, everything will, like there's always something that goes wrong.
Yeah.
That's why you need more, like you gotta be put like energy in pre-production so that you gotta lessen the percentage of going things wrong while shooting. Cause like every single time there's something wrong, like you just can't help it. I think that's life. Like but you just go with it. Like what are you gonna do about it? Or worst come to worst, I had like this happen when the client had like more budget. We will shoot again.
Okay.
But rarely because that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, production, I think in general is like people don't really understand how expensive
Yeah.
it can get.
Exactly.
I mean, like camera equipment alone can be thousands and thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, right?
Right.
Not let alone like labor costs or like anything else. Like lighting is not a camera.
Exactly. So yeah, you just gotta deal with it. So yeah, if you did a good job on shooting, you'll have better time post production. If things goes wrong, I guess that's where the post production comes in and kind of like trying to fill that in. Like,
Is that like saying like we'll fix it in post?
Yeah, but you know that shit is. No, people think that's easy. No, it's not. It's like it's a different type of like work you have to do.
I just started learning about like, cause like I'm just kind of curious now, cause you know like I run this podcast by myself, or like if you call it a podcast, and I had no understanding of like how to work a camera or how to work this like sound equipment. And now like learning through it, it's a lot of trial and error, like you said, but it's way harder. And now I'm just thinking like I do as much pre as I can, but then again, like, you know, like sometimes the file just gets corrupted, and then it's like, now what do I do, right? And it's like working through those like situations can be pretty stressful. So I was just like curious, like how you deal with that kind of thing on like a much larger scale, right?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like, like let me tell this like story. Like, I don't even know if this should be on podcast.
That's okay. We can cut it if we need to.
All right, so
we'll fix it in post.
When I used to work in Ada Rising, there was a guy who accidentally erased all the file, and that production cost was like $200K. He literally went crazy. Like you could see.
But what do you do? Like you can't do anything,
Can't
right?
do anything about it.
The only option is to like reshoot again, right?
Reshoot, but they didn't reshoot. It's cause like $200K, but he didn't get fired or anything.
Wow.
But he just got super OCD about it. So ever since, now so whenever we edit or whenever we shoot stuff, right, it goes into the main drive, and it goes onto the side, what do you call it, the backup drive, and this backup drive goes into this like a cabinet with with like passcodes on it, and then it goes into two different clouds.
Oh wow.
And whenever you edit them, you have to report through email about what you edited and where you put it, and you have to also separately save the what do you call that, the project file, because just in case if the project gets erased, you can kind of back it up with your backup hard drive.
Okay.
So like every day before I go home, I have to spend like 20-30 minutes just doing that.
Wow. So like you just need to be like super detail oriented and like organizationally focused.
Yeah, and you gotta and you have to follow the exact like naming process so that you know where to find something.
Yeah. I mean, even now, like sometimes we're getting requests from production companies, like for TVC or like film projects, and they're very, very specific about like how files need to be named. Because I'm assuming like that's just the way that they have it within their own structure, right?
Yeah. I'm sure like every other company does differently.
Yeah.
But that's how he did it after that happened.
So like you've never run into an issue like that?
I didn't well,
like personally.
I never made a mistake on that aspect yet. I shouldn't even say yet.
Okay, I got a question then. So like let's say like anything can go wrong with like memory cards or drives or whatever, right? Like it just can happen. Like files can just get lost, corrupted, who knows. So like when do you find out? Like, what if like it was never like? Are you checking this stuff while you're shooting, like in between breaking sessions or something? Like you're going to see if like the past stuff that you shot like got, I don't know, saved successfully or.
We have data manager, so we hire a data manager.
So somebody's just kind of like analyzing it in real time.
Yeah, so there's a guy who just does that
Oh wow,
throughout the whole shoot.
really?
Yeah,
Whoa, I had no idea.
yeah. We try to have them because like you know,
Yeah.
so we can blame it on him.
Yeah, that's cool. Actually, like I didn't even know like that was like a
Yeah.
real role.
Yeah, but that's like one of the most important role as well because you know.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's just a lot of money being spent. Like,
Actually, now I think about it, that happened to me twice.
oh, really?
It wasn't me who made a mistake, but it was a DOP, and it was the hard drive. So this one time, we had like a Rolls Royce, and like we had like all these like ATVs and like motorcycle just block up the whole Flushing road, and we shot like just crazy stunts illegally.
We'll cut that out too. Fix it in post.
No, it's okay. Like, but so the guy with the main camera, he was drinking that day. He deleted it. But fortunate enough that I had a camera too, and we had 3 cameras, so side cameras. So we were able to make a
Like recover something out of it.
recover something out of it, but we lost the good shots. But we never told that to the artist, so the clients, and they didn't know about it. We actually told them later, like 3 years after, while we were drinking. We're like, hey, actually, that day we lost the main file, and he was like, what, really? Like I didn't know. So so that was okay. And there was just another time the whole hard drive just got like corrupt.
Okay. We're pushing time because I don't know if somebody else has a studio after us, but
Okay.
I wanna ask like one more question. I just had it on the tip of my tongue. Dang, it was so good too. I should have just got it out. Now I really need it to come back to me. Okay, yeah. This is my last question. So when shooting for like a MV or something, like, do the artists typically have like a lot of like say in like concept or stuff, or is this usually like the management companies are really like, this is what we're gonna shoot?
From my experience, this is just my experience. Usually artists with no
Like independence?
usually the independent artists, they are super hard to deal with.
Really?
They are very detail oriented, but it's hard to communicate. Well, it was just for those artists that I work with. It's sometimes hard to communicate with them because since they are musicians, they're not a visual makers, right? Like they will try to explain this concept, like usually through wordings, and it's very vague. So I remember it was really hard to deal with like some individual artists, whereas like company with like big management, it was a lot easier because
They've done it before.
yeah, it's usually the management who deals with that. Like I'm sure the artists have the opinions too, but that doesn't come straight down to us. The management, they become the bridge to actually deal with that,
Yeah.
and they know how to process this like visually or like professionally, so it's easier. But usually, working with the artist like one-on-one it's pretty hard.
That's just because of like lack of knowledge on like how to like actually express or like communicate.
Yeah, unless if you have like experience like on the set, like which most artists doesn't really. So yeah, but I remember like I remember shooting for a few artists in the independent artists like back in the days. It was really hard to deal with them. But now I came back to Korea. I shot with them again, like it seemed like they went through experience and they knew how
Mm.
to they know how to do it now.
Ah,
So
okay.
I think it's really based on experience.
Experience.
Like younger than you are, more ego you have,
Yeah.
and younger and no experience if you have, it's harder to deal with the actual production team. I don't know
Mm.
if that makes sense, but yeah.
No, no, no. I get
Yeah.
it. So like, okay, I do have another question. Um, do you find like within film and production there has to be a lot of compromise? Because like like maybe it's like what somebody wants is like really just unattainable. Like how do you like kind of like maybe make the client or the artist or the management company or whoever is like paying you to do this job like understand and like work within their budget or like their time constraint to do something like realistic.
You gotta be able to fight for it.
Mm.
It's literally that. You
Mm.
gotta be able to put your opinion out because like just because the client want this, and then if you just say yes, even though you don't think you can make it happen, that's not good for both of us.
Mm.
It will just make shit. Um, so you really gotta be able to be straight and be able to tell what exactly goes on and what the what the client can expect from the production team.
Mm-hmm.
Or it also goes the other way too. Even within the team, like I I had enough situation where when I work with the other directors, they think they can do to make this happen within
Mm.
time frame. But since I knew it wasn't possible because I had more experience, I had to fight for it.
Mm.
And you don't know that until you experience it, right?
Yeah.
So if you think that you can make that happen, or you think you can make that happen, either way, you gotta be able to fight for it.
Yeah.
And after that, you gotta just have to take the responsibility of what happens.
Yeah. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Okay, last final note. Like, are there any like, I don't know, emerging like visual artists that you take inspiration from, or like you're following closely because like you like their work or they're doing something new? Um, yeah, like anybody that's like on your radar that like, yeah, like this is who I learn from, or this is who I like follow to take some notes, this kind of thing.
Honestly, I can't really think of a new artist or new director right now.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be new. Like somebody like you took inspiration from, like when you were starting. Like,
But when I started, I definitely took inspiration from Dexter Navy.
okay.
Um, at the time, Dexter Navy, he's the one who shot LSD for A$AP
Ah, cool.
Rocky, and he shot like a lot of A$AP Rocky's music videos, and
Mm.
his style is very like film grainy
Mm.
and very raw. I don't know if that's like the right way to say it, but at the time, I really liked the look, I guess, the
Mm-hmm.
mood.
Like feeling, aesthetic,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Um, so that's definitely how when I thought that I really wanted to make those kind of film happen,
Mm.
and I still like him, but I don't really like follow him as much because he's not as active anymore. But nowadays, I guess I still I don't really follow the directors, but I follow musicians more.
Mm.
Um, yeah. I used to like Tyler the Creator too. Just like very creative guys.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
wondering because, like, like some people from like maybe a modeling standpoint would be like, like Naomi Campbell is my idol, and like
Mm.
that's where I learn my posing from, or I take inspiration from like how to style myself, or things like this, or like maybe you're like a stylist and you're like, oh, like I love this designer and the way they layer clothes or do these kind of things. That's like kind of the direction
Mm.
I was trying
Right.
to.
Yeah. I don't really have like a person
Mm.
like who I follow, but there I have um if you look at my like YouTube channel or YouTube what do you call that, say the saving list per se, I I have multiple different videos stacked up, but usually a lot of them are music videos,
Okay.
and yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. Andy, thank you so much for coming on. Yeah, it was really cool to have a guest that had experience working not only in Korea but like also abroad, especially within like the industry like insight side, which is mainly like creative artists, not like models or actresses or influencers or those kind of people. So I really appreciate you giving us your time. Any final like words of advice or pieces of info that you can provide to somebody maybe looking into getting into production?
Just DM me, bro.
Okay, you heard it there first. That's Industry Insight. My name's Benjamin.
Andy.
See you guys next time. Bye bye.